Hey guys, welcome back to the Rideshare Hub. It's Isabella, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys some clips from this interview with YouTuber Jay Eddie. Check out all of his links down below in the description. But before we get started, I wanted to give a huge shout out to Play Octopus. Now, if you haven't heard of Play Octopus, it's this awesome company that sends Uber and Lyft drivers a tablet completely for free. And in turn, you get money and you can actually make up to an extra $100 per month. We have a link down below if you want to sign up and get one of those. I highly recommend it to you guys. But anyways, let's get started into the video. Have you ever been scammed before, or do you have any like bad Uber experiences?
I've had a couple I've had a couple, but luckily enough, like I've done over 25,000 trips, and
Oh,
luckily enough, yeah, crazy. I'm out here, I'm grinding, man. I'm telling you. Um, Luckily enough, I could only name about four situations out of the all those trips that I've ever
oh
done.
wow.
Yeah,
That's
it's a good ratio. It's a good ratio. I mean, of course, you're gonna come across people who have, bad attitudes, whatever. But I don't take it personal, and I don't even. I ignore them like a child, man. Like if you're gonna give me attitude for no reason, hey, I'm just gonna ignore it. I got the AirPods in, chilling, the music's on, whatever,
yeah.
and because some people feed into it. They're like, oh well, why are you giving me attitude? And I ain't got time to argue with you, man. But I got a story for you, which I'll get into. But I do know of a scam that did happen that was going on a few years ago. Was that people would order a ride, then they would call you as if they were Uber support, ask like saying, "Hey, go ahead and cancel the trip that you have right now," um, and they would ask for like your name and your like login or something like that.
Oh.
And what they were doing was then they would log into your Uber account, um, and saying, or they would log in your Uber account and then they would basically cash out their earnings to their debit card
Oh.
or their bank account or whatever. So hasn't happened to me, but I do know it was happening to people, and someone did try it. Someone did try it on me. Luckily enough, I was familiar with that scam already, so I just kind of like played with them a little bit. I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Let me send you my password," and then I sent them like some stupid shit. Who knows? Um, but I have had where people. Here's the thing, and this is a bad thing that I think Uber needs to have a better either policy or way of investigating these things. Is people will either complain or give you a bad rating or bad feedback. Let's say, I know some people do that in order to get a free ride. They'll try to be like, "Oh, my driver, blah blah blah." They'll come up with an excuse to say something was wrong with the trip, and the trip might have went perfectly fine. But some people will just use that in their advantage of getting a free ride and do stuff like that. So I've had random bad feedbacks. Like some people, I was getting like there was like a couple months ago, I was getting like one a week almost. I told Uber support, I was like, I think I'm being harassed because this is kind of weird. I kept getting a notification from Uber saying a passenger had reported that an argument and me being rude made them feel uncomfortable in the car, something like that, something along those lines. And I'm like I said, I don't have time to be arguing with anyone. So I'm like, nothing's happened. So where is this coming from? So they said that they would look into it. I doubt they do. Um, and I had another one. My most recent one was this lady said that I refused to give her a ride for discrimination,
Oh.
and it's weird, right? I'm a person of color. I'm also in San Francisco, which is very progressive, and I'm picking up all types of people, man. I don't have any type of discriminatory bone in my body at all. And I was like, that is pretty bizarre. I've never experienced anything like that. And these types of things also were starting to fall in line after COVID. I've never have experienced these things until like, I think people's like, I don't know, the behaviors are a lot different too now that after the pandemic. I think people try to be a little more entitled than they used to be.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre, but also interesting because like again, these things I've definitely have noticed have all been after the pandemic. But
Hmm.
who knows? Like everybody's just like on edge about stuff and whatever. But I actually was yeah, I think I had to give like I had to submit like a whole report about that whole incident and like give a whole rundown. It was really weird.
That is weird.
Yeah.
That kind of sucks.
It
Yeah.
it is. It's disappointing that people this is why I think Uber has, a bad um way going about this, because it jeopardizes drivers' livelihoods, right? Like, and they're definitely gonna prioritize the consumer over the driver. There's
Yeah.
always gonna be drivers signing up, but as long as the customer is being like, they don't want to lose somebody who's giving them revenue, right? Because they got to pay us, but the customer is paying Uber, right? So that's
Yeah.
how they're making their money. So of course they're gonna go with them before anybody else. So that's the downside. It's like somebody can make a lie. I A few years ago, a person who I did have like a minor, I wouldn't even say it was an altercation, but she was just arguing with me about um the pickup location and where, like, how to pick her up. It was really weird because it was in a grocery store parking lot.
Oh,
And so the way it was a very small one and narrow one too. And so obviously the way like parking lots operate, you're supposed to drive on one side to get in and to get out. And so she's standing in front and I can't do a U-turn or anything like that. So I'm just like, just hop in. Like, you walk 10 steps, man. It's not that hard. And she
yeah.
wanted me to do a whole U-turn and stuff like that. So she wouldn't let that go. Um, and then when it came to me dropping her off, she said she reported me saying that my car smelled like alcohol and marijuana.
Oh,
I'm like, come on, man. Like, over just not making a U-turn. Like, I can understand if you're like across this whole entire street or something like that, but like, you walk 10 steps. That's all you had to do was just walk 10
yeah.
steps to the car. It's fine. But again, like I said, most interactions are a lot more positive than those. And we don't have to deal with those people too often, which is great.